Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Lor-Quest, the Lorcana podcast. I'm joined by Tom and Harry. Harry, how are you today?
I'm not doing too bad, thank you, guys. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Yes, this is my second podcast of the day. Yes,
Oh,
yes, we are now podcasting professionals.
Apparently so.
Apparently, yes, it's just non-stop podcasting. So,
that's not a bad thing. I
no,
look
no,
forward to starting this, my first ever podcast. So
cool.
I've been wanting to do one for a while, and I'm happy it's on a topic I feel really interested about.
Awesome.
Good.
Well, that's good. So this episode we decided was going to be a shorter one than normal because normally we aim for about an hour. But just in general, I figured we could just introduce ourselves. I've done it before on the other one, so has Evie, but obviously nobody knows who you are yet, H. Hopefully the world will soon know as you become a
That is
global
very true.
megastar. A global
That's the
megastar.
plan.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
So, Evie, do you want to start?
Yes, my name's Evie, and I run Lazy Dragon Gaming in Blackpool, which will soon be returning to Blackpool. Woo!
Yes.
Woo!
Uh, I have played many games over the years, including many roleplay games. Magic. I played Magic for a while.
We went to Stockholm to play Magic.
We did. We went
Yes,
to
we
Stockholm to play
played
Magic.
a Grand Prix in Stockholm.
Yes, it was a sealed Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love sealed formats. They're my favourites. Um,
Anything else you want to?
what else
No?
about me?
Brain shut down again?
Yeah, pretty much. I hate talking about myself.
Yeah, it's awful, isn't it? Big
Current-
yourself up. No.
Currently learning to judge Lorcana. Hopefully getting some judge applications in time for Bologna in August and Birmingham in September.
Yes, that would be good because that would mean that we could go and play.
Yes, it
Well,
would
I
be
could go
great.
and play. And
You
I
could
wouldn't
go and
feel
play.
bad for leaving you at home and going
Yes.
to Bologna. And being like, "Hey, wife, I'm off. Bye." And you're like,
I'm
"Oh,
off for 3 days,
yeah,
3-day holiday,
3 day holiday."
playing card games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, pretty much everyone who is subscribed to this YouTube channel in the UK knows who I am because I am nationally famous for being the obstropulous bastard that runs a game store in Preston. But yeah, so I have played at a reasonable level Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh, and I like to think Lorcana. I am quite good at Lorcana. But at Magic, I top 8'd a 400 player Pro Tour qualifier. I didn't quite make the Pro Tour ever. I wasn't super serious trying to get on the Pro Tour, but I did travel a lot to play in them. And then for Yu-Gi-Oh, played in 2 different regionals. One I did quite well in, made day 2. The other one not so much. Played in countless GPs for Magic. And then for Lorcana, we did 4 store championships in 4 days, which was over the course of 2 weekends. So we are quite serious at the Lorcana. We went to Chester. I went to Nottingham. You went to Preston, H.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did. Preston.
yeah.
Preston twice for me.
Preston twice for you. Then we did ours in Preston, the Lazy Dragon Gaming one, which was also in Preston, held at AJTCG. And then we all went to Fanboy 3 in Manchester, which I'll actually come up to on the future episode about the actual strategy of store championships going forward. I think that's a topic we can cover on
Very much
strategy
so,
for,
especially in preparation for the next lot whenever
yeah.
they're announced.
Yeah, so as soon as they get announced, I think we'll do a bit of a strategy thing on that. So that's a little bit about me. But I've been in the industry for 25 years. I've been doing this mostly on, but a little bit off over the last 25 years in pretty much every card game, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Digimon, everything you can think of. So I've been around for a long time, hence the grizzled and whirlwind look that I have. But yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's just my shitty webcam.
Yeah, actually, I hope
Yeah.
I hope I don't look that bad. Like, as we are on a web call with H, and if I look that bad, I'm in a lot of trouble. But I think that might just be the shitty laptop webcam. So, anyway, floor's yours, H. Off you go.
Right, well, I'm Harry. I am a semi-good TCG player, I think. At least now. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh in the past for about 3 or 4 years. Never did that well, but obviously that was just like my first proper TCG. So just getting into the swing of things. I've dabbled also in a little bit of Pokemon, a little bit of Final Fantasy, and like the tiniest bit of Digimon. But never really stuck with any of them, at least past a set or two. But Lorcana, I was just looking into a card game to get into, and I felt like Lorcana was the best one. It's new, and you're on everyone else's level at that point. So I've been with Lorcana since set one. Really, really enjoyed it. Really gotten into the game. I enjoy playing competitive anyway. Play some competitive sports, so um, Lorcana is just another way to get that competitiveness out of me.
You
But
play basketball, don't you, Ange?
I do,
Yes,
yes,
you're like,
yes. Yeah, so I do have that little competitive itch in me to just keep playing
I
things
can't
on.
possibly come and play card games. I've got to go and bounce a ball.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and then when I finish bouncing the ball, it's like, oh well, we've got store championships this weekend, so it's
Yeah.
all good. But yeah, that's basically me. Just stuck with Lorcana, really enjoy it, and the game's still producing a load of new mechanics and stuff, so I definitely haven't burnt out or got bored, so
Do you
onwards and upwards.
think? Because I personally think of it because you've got the original card game, which is Magic the Gathering, and then along came
Yeah,
Pokemon, and then shortly after came Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And then
yeah,
then there seems to have been, I think, about a 15-year gap before we had a card game that stuck around. Because
yeah. I
there are
can't
a
think of a
lot.
card game apart from the big three
Yeah.
that it's still a big card game.
Yeah, there's been a lot of card games in that gap between sort of the arrival of what I think was Final Fantasy, maybe, that started this sort of like push towards newer card games. So you had Final
Yeah,
Fantasy came along, and then within a few years you had Dragon Ball, One
yep. Dragon
Piece.
Ball. Remember that One Piece.
Um,
One Piece is quite big now, though,
yeah,
right?
One Piece
I don't know
is
much
huge
about One
now.
Piece, but I've
No,
heard. Yeah,
and then you had like you've got Digimon and Lorcana. You've got a new Star Wars Unlimited game, but
mm-hmm.
and they're all like pretty good. But you had that like 15-year gap where there was just nothing that stuck because there were games because I played them like the Harry Potter card game. I've just started hoovering up bits for me
I
and
never
Eden.
even knew that was a thing until
Yes,
you mentioned that,
yes,
and I like Harry Potter. Yeah.
yeah. So have I got it handy? Is this it?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
there
it.
you go. You'll be able to see it. The listener won't be able to see it. But yeah, it's Harry Potter trading card game
Oh,
done by Wizards of the Coast, and it
okay.
is actually a really good, fun card game.
It just never properly picked up,
But
and
they never really stuck to it and didn't do anything with it, and so it never took off. But I love the Harry Potter card game. It's a lot of fun. I don't think I play it competitively. I don't think it's that fun, but it is a good, fun card
it's
game to
good
play.
enough. Yeah.
Do you think Lorcana, which is what this podcast is going to primarily be about, do we think, or do you think, because I know what I think, that it's going to last that sort of 10, 15 years? Or do you think it's going to burn itself out in the next
I
couple of
could
years?
I could be really biased with it. Well, I'm going to be really biased with this because my answer is yeah, I think so. I know we're only well,
Four sets in.
probably when this podcast is out, we're 4 sets in.
Four sets in.
But I mean, the fact it's a card game and it's Disney, they have so much they can do. I think because of how they've structured at least the first 4 sets, it's not like they've just given one set's got these films in, and then the next set's got these films in, and they've had we're still getting the same cards from the same films because you can do so much anyway. There's so many characters you can go into. For example, the first 4 sets, the main theme has been about Ursula and this quest she's on to. I think it's the staff is she after or something like
Yeah, it's
that.
the Ink
I
Castle
keep
staff, isn't it? She's
yeah
after.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it can. It's definitely got the what's the word the structure to be solid for a while,
Yeah.
a good solid while. So and they can just keep introducing more mechanics when they think it's going to go stale. I guess most card games do that just to mix things up. But as how it started, I think it's really strong and it's looking good. And it's
Yeah.
Disney. Like so
Yeah.
many people are into it because it's Disney. That's
Like,
probably where a lot of other card games failed. They just haven't got that big platform behind them. They're always starting out new, and people have to get used to the product and things like that. But Disney, everyone just sees, oh look, this is my favorite character from when I was a kid. Easy.
yeah. Yeah, I
Or
agree.
favorite film. Yeah.
I do think that Disney, well, with them doing the animated films, there's an awful lot of like me. I'm in my 40s, and like Evie's 30 this year. She's nearly 30 now, aren't you, dear?
unfortunately.
Yes. So, but everybody at every age has got different sort of favorite films and favorite characters from those films.
Uh-huh.
And I know a lot of
And I
people.
don't know anyone that doesn't like Disney. Like,
I know one
I've never
person.
met.
I do.
Okay.
I know. Do you know? Do you remember Mark, who used to work for us? I don't know if you remember Mark. I think you will do. I think
Maybe.
you met
If I
him.
saw a picture, I probably would.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah, he just.
he's not a huge Disney fan. He's not a fan of the
Okay.
Disney
Okay.
thing, but he is a miserable git. So, but
Yeah, I guess you have to be to not like anything Disney.
Yeah,
There's so much. Yeah.
I think that one of the things that's changed quite a lot in that sort of 15 years is that it is now more acceptable to be into these things than it was.
Yeah. Yes.
Like
Definitely.
15 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Like 15 years ago, if you played Magic, you were a weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, not so much. Like I play Magic. Okay, what's that? Okay, never mind. It's just another nerd thing I don't like. Whereas previously it was like you would be like driven from places for playing Magic and stuff like that. You were looked
Oh
at
yeah.
strangely.
I don't remember mentioning it at all in high school. I played a few in high school. I think Yu-Gi-Oh. Me and a bunch of friends were playing. And yeah, there was you don't talk about it at school, or you
No.
didn't anyway.
No.
It might be more socially acceptable now in school, but
It
at
is,
least
yeah.
where I am in my life now, I can easily say it, and then people are like, okay, it's a game.
I
A lot of people
remember
play games.
we used to go to house parties when I was in sixth form, where we did absolutely no underage drinking whatsoever.
Never.
Never.
Mm-hmm.
And we were very well behaved, and we were in bed by 11 p.m.
Always.
And there were two guys that would sit. They would always go and find a quiet corner, and they would sit and drink and play Yu-Gi-Oh. And the rest of us were like, "Stop being kids and come and join the party." Like that was the attitude that was had
Yeah.
towards
Yeah.
it back then. And back then, I could never imagine being in the line of work that I am now.
No, well, it's like
Because
Well,
I've done a complete 180 in my
you've
lifetime. Because I was not interested in Marvel or any card games or anything, really.
Honestly, I've always been interested in stuff like that, but when it was I used to go into my local game store, and then I ended up running that game store because it was closing and nobody else was like everyone else had a full-time job and I didn't, and they were like, "You need we're going to lose it," and I was like, "I'll do it." Might as well. And I remember it being like, a few handful of tables which we'd made ourselves, chairs that we'd like grabbed out of somewhere, and like my rent was £10 a week, which I wish our rent was £10 a week now.
Oh
'Cause
my
that would have
gosh.
been really nice.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I opened my game store and I had 3 D&D books and a box of Magic boosters, and tables and chairs. That was it. That was the entire thing. And we sold that box of Magic boosters on the Saturday, and I reordered 2 more on the Monday, and had sold out by Wednesday, and it just kept going until,
And they just kept going.
and going and going and going until
Momentum.
until we ended up with 2 game stores years later. But yeah, so I think that Lorcana can stick around. I think there's a couple of things that they're doing really well, and one of them is their organised play. So every store gets sent out their organised play kits to run for, and they get 2, which is great because you can do a comp and a casual. So you can do 2 different like setups for it. So everybody gets their stuff. So you're not battling with people like us, because we are, both me and Harry are tournament players. We play more competitive stuff. If you turn up to your local Lorcana league and you have to play against us and you're just like playing, I don't know, the 7 Dwarves deck or something, you're going to have a miserable time, because we both have these like decks that have won.
Yeah, like a
events.
meta-relevant deck,
Yeah.
and
Whereas
7 Dwarves versus.
You'd prefer to play against me, who
Yeah.
would rather play, I don't know, a deck with Snow White and Pocahontas in it.
Yeah.
Pocahontas isn't even in the game.
No, we haven't had it yet.
Yes, but she'll be soon, surely.
I think she'll get her own big introduction.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll get. I think because Ursula's this sort of block of stuff that's happening, and I think when they do the next big hero or the next big villain, they'll get their big introduction for their set. I think. And like new.
She'll be like a headliner of that, like in these first 4 sets where we've had the likes of Bell, Ariel, things like that.
Yeah.
Pocahontas, I think, could. I mean, they've got so many they could do, but Pocahontas is like a classic one, you'd say. So I feel like she's in that lineup for the next kind of big films to come in.
Yeah,
They're going to be introduced in the next. Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But yeah, I think that socially, a lot of things have changed in the last 15 years, where card games now I think are more acceptable. So I think they have a more of a chance of sticking around. And so
Yeah.
when you combine that with the good organized play that Lorcana are doing, because they are doing good organized play, which is nice, because it took Yu-Gi-Oh years to get that right, and then it
Mm.
took Magic the Gathering years to destroy their own organized play and have what was the best organized play and now is one of the worst. Bandai's probably the most inconsistent, but Lorcana's is very consistent. New set, new stuff. This is how you give it out. This is the way it is. Store championships. Go to your local stores, play, win a card worth a lot of money if you can. Next thing is regional type things, right? Which is your
Yes, I
like.
can't remember what exactly they're called, but
No,
they
I
are
can't.
just they are
Challenges.
regionals.
Are they
Yeah,
challenge?
Lorcana Challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they're like the next step up, which is good. And
They're
then
what I'm applying to judge.
yeah, and then you've got the world championships as well, haven't you? Which is coming.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That's going
and
to be really interesting.
that one, if you can qualify in any way to get to that and do well at it, you will make so much money on the cards they give you for
Yeah,
that. It will
yeah.
be.
If your object, like if because like a lot of people do, especially in competitive card games, if that's your thing to go out and play for the prizes that you're going to sell, I mean, most of the time, why wouldn't you? Especially with how we've seen with the store championship Stitch, like you kind of be silly not to at least think about selling them because that's going to that right now. Even if you to travel locally and then win a Stitch, it's a lot of money, and if you're doing that abroad, that's paying for your flight and probably your accommodation, free trip away, and you've gone to go play a card game that you enjoy.
Yeah. Usually you meet a lot of nice people while you're doing it. Like I've had
Oh,
like
100%, yeah.
over the years, I've had very few bad experiences while traveling to places, and I've
Mm,
traveled all over the world to play card games. And like 99 times out of 100, the people that you meet are all great and they're really friendly and they help you out and all the rest of it. Of course, there's going to be idiots, but like you can't help that. They appear at everything. But I think that
yeah.
Lorcana, I think, is going to attract like decent people by the sounds of it for the most part. So yeah,
I think that's another good thing about Lorcana, as well as because it's a new card game, so you have a lot of people either returning to a TCG or trying out their first ever TCG. I mean, my experience is only really compared to competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, which I haven't been around that scene for years anyway. But it's been like everyone's been so nice. There's not been any issues yet. And another thing with Lorcana, I think, is that another thing that it's done that other card games haven't been able to do, at least as far as I know. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Is a lot of people, obviously TCGs, I'd say for the most part, it's a male
yeah,
dominated
oh
thing,
yeah,
and now Lorcana, like quite a lot of people I've met, their girlfriends, their wives, their partners, everyone. Oh yeah, I'll give that a go as well. Like if you were to say to your partner, "I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh, blah blah, do you want to play?" They'll probably look at it and go, "I have no idea what any of this is," but with Lorcana being Disney, they can relate to it and at least give it a go. And quite a few people now I've met, they come together and play the game.
yeah. I think it does open that up a lot more than any other card game has before. Like
Yeah.
especially Yu-Gi-Oh. Like Pokemon isn't too bad for it, but if you're not a Pokemon fan, it is like meh. But if
Hmm.
yeah, so if you're fortunate that your partner does like Pokemon, then probably they are going to play it with you. But more people, I think, like Disney than they do
Yeah.
Pokemon, even though Pokemon obviously is the biggest brand in the world, but that's usually for cuddly toys and computer games. Whereas this, I think, translates quite well. And it helps, I think, that the game is pretty self explanatory. Like, when we. I think we did four. Yeah, we did four store championships, and I think I only heard one or two judge calls the whole
I
time.
didn't hear many, and
Yeah,
and I
not
don't
many at
even
all.
think the ones I heard were anything to do with possible rulings. More
No.
just like um, certain game states that had happened.
Yeah.
Opponent had accidentally shuffled cards and dropped something, or it wasn't anything like major where there was a ruling that people didn't know about.
No,
Um,
I'm very surprised at the amount of rulings or calls, I should say, that
mm,
they weren't. They didn't happen. Like if you go to a Yu-Gi-Oh event, for example, so me and Evie both run big Yu-Gi-Oh events, like 100 player plus Yu-Gi-Oh events, and we set a timer when the round starts. Obviously, there's a time ticking down, and we usually say in the first 5 minutes who's going to be the first judge call, and very often it gets to like 2.5 minutes in, and the judge, someone's arms up, judge straight away. But
yeah,
I think we did like in Manchester, I think we did 2.5 rounds before we heard a judge call,
Yeah, yeah.
before we got anywhere. So it's like it's a fairly straightforward game.
No,
That
there was one in the first round, I
was
believe.
there. I
It,
must
it
have
just
missed that.
happened to be right in front of me
Oh right,
when I
okay.
was sat working
But it wasn't
in
in
the
the
corner.
first 2.5 minutes then.
No,
Like,
no, it
yeah.
wasn't.
And
Definitely
most
not.
of it is like I knocked my deck over and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, like
yeah.
not what do I do about this?
I accidentally
That
drew an extra card.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just yeah.
that particular one, they asked to discuss away from the table, so I don't actually know
Oh,
what the judge call was about.
oh, that's interesting. Wonder what
Oh
that
yeah, I
was.
think there was something like if there was a judge call, then you could request head judge or something.
Yeah, so
Maybe.
the way that normally judging works is that if you by explaining to the judge a thing, if you're going to give away information that should be kept to you,
Yes. Yeah,
you can
yeah, yeah.
request a step away and be like, "Hey, this thing does it work this way?" Now in Magic, they used to say, "Cast it and find out." Like
Oh wow, yeah.
so
Hardcore OG.
hardcore. They soften that now. Like Magic's rules now are, oh, if you make a mistake, don't worry, you can take it back. It's okay. We'll
Hmm.
pander to the lowest common denominator of Magic at the World Cup. Like no, like you should expect your World Championship players to play at a World Championship standard. Do you
Yes.
know what I mean? It's like, no, I'm not going to let you off that. You're gonna that mistake you made is a mistake you made. That's how I'm going to win the game. So I like, but at a local level, at small levels, then of course you can take it back. What difference does it make?
Hmm.
Everyone's going to get this stuff anyway. But at the highest levels, I do think they should definitely be like, no, if you make a mistake, you own that mistake and you carry on. You
Yeah.
don't get to
I feel
take it
like
back.
that's how they should deal it, at least with Worlds
Yeah,
or the top 16 in these challenges. A lot of the time, the kind of the crowds I've met at the tournaments we've done, especially I think because the store champs were obviously we did 4 over 2 weekends, so you're traveling and meeting a lot of people. Everyone seemed all right, ruling wise, and just general kind of like card game stuff. I
yeah,
know a couple of times. We'll get into it in another episode, but I was playing the red blue control, so my turns take longer. I have to think a lot more, and then every now and then I'd be playing a turn. And I think in my head, "Oh, this has gone on for too long," and then I'm saying to my opponent, "Oh, sorry, I'm just figuring something out." And I've never heard anyone, at least yet, go, "No, you need to hurry up. You need to hurry up." And I'm not. It's not like I'm taking too long, but everyone's just like, "Oh no, don't worry about it. Just
yeah.
you know." And it's happened vice versa with things, or someone's does, "Oh yeah, sorry about that." So that's fine.
Yeah, I
I
had
know
to.
that will change the higher you get, especially
Yeah.
if I was in a top 8 or a top 4 at a big tournament. You will a bit more leeway. But it's like I've been at Yu-Gi-Oh ones in the past. I remember years ago, and just from the start, people are very like, you get
Oh
this wrong,
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh
and that's
is
funny
Judge,
considering the prize support. Like
judge
the
my
prizes
yeah.
opponent.
in Lorcana, at least right now, have been more expensive than any Yu-Gi-Oh prize I've ever played
So
for.
you know,
Judge, my
So.
opponent is thinking about their turn for more than 5 seconds.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah. I've
slow
heard that
playing.
from people. I've heard
yeah,
nightmare stories from other
yeah.
other card games and
So one
stuff
of
as
the
well.
Connor Dilworth, who you remember Connor, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
I
you know
remember
Connor.
Connor.
So Connor Dilworth's a really good friend of mine, of ours. We all know him. He was saying because we play poker together, and he came and he was like, "You won a card going to like down the road that was worth more than me, like top eighting a regional of 1,000 players for Yu-Gi-Oh."
Yeah, yeah.
So you can go to a 32, not even a 32. I think we what did we do? A 20 something, 18 maybe. Was Chester? Was that 16?
Yeah, Chester was something. Yeah,
Yeah,
20, 18
20-ish.
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something around that. Then, and
Manchester was around
I know
50.
the one the first one at Harlequins in Preston was 48, right? Yeah, or
Yes, yeah. That was
42
the
or something. Yeah,
second biggest one.
yeah.
Manchester being the
Manchester
biggest.
being the
Yeah,
biggest at 58 or something. The
as
one I
expected. Yeah.
Yeah, the one I went to in Nottingham was 20-ish players.
It's very hit and miss. There's
Yeah,
so many that I've seen that you just get the 8, or they get 12, or then there's 40, and then there's a load in America
yeah.
that get like 60, 70, but then
Oh
others
yeah,
again in America get 8. But there's so many stores, so many champs.
yeah. There was 2,200 store championships kits went out
Is
Hmm.
that worldwide or in the UK?
worldwide, worldwide. So that means there's 8,800 stitches in the world. So
Okay,
that tells
that's
you.
that's nice to know actually that
Yeah,
I have one of 8. Yeah.
yeah. Mine went to the Netherlands. I went instantly for the price I asked for, and
Excellent.
he, which was a good price, and he basically said that all the ones in the Netherlands were damaged. He couldn't find one in the Netherlands that wasn't damaged.
Wow.
So the tens are not going to come out of that region. That's why they were
I,
buying
I,
them from external to the Netherlands to get them graded, because they were
I
all
guess there's
damaged.
that because you're going to have a lot of issues. Certain places have just there are a lot that are damaged, and then unfortunately, there will be so many stores that have just got the kits, said they've done a tournament, and then just sold the stitches
Yeah,
onwards.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
you had that issue, didn't you? You were going to sign up for one, and obviously we won't name anything, but they didn't.
yeah.
Um,
No, I'm convinced they didn't run that. Me and
yeah, because
Mark were
they
going to
put
go
up the
to it.
melee registration and then took it
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
I've heard a lot of places in America have done it as well.
Yeah,
So
it's because the cards are worth so much money, right?
yeah, it's a
Stores need,
shame,
yeah.
but yeah. I
I
just
do
hope the
think
people that, let's say that it wasn't like the people wanting to go to that had chances to go to other tournaments.
I hope so. I hope nobody
Yeah.
missed out as a result of that.
Yeah, at least was able to play, yeah.
But yeah, so, sorry, something went on outside. I heard something falling over behind me, and I thought the shelves were going.
No, I think
No, good. I can
Rachel's
see
here
it from here as well.
sometimes.
I was like, whoa, panic. But yeah, I think they do need to clamp down on it though. It's
Yeah.
something they do need to have a really firm grasp on, because it isn't fair. Because there was enough complaining about, the biggest complaint about store championships was, I went to my local store to play in my store championships, and 6 guys rocked up that I had no idea who they were. They've never been here before, and they all had top tier meta decks and smashed us all around, and left with the mats and the stitches, and we didn't get a chance to get them. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, I'm sorry, but this is the store championship level. This isn't your local level. This is a step up. Expect that.
Yeah.
This is
Like,
the level where people are expecting to travel for events.
yes.
And they are expecting to travel quite far for events because of how far between they can be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that I've learned over the years is something that just happens because people want the stuff. It is collectible and it is sought after.
Yeah, I would expect it, definitely. I don't think it's a bad thing because it's part of the game and it is a competitive thing. I don't know if maybe it won't happen as much. I don't know if let's say they stretched out store champs, if it would have meant people wouldn't be traveling as much because there'd be more stitches out there and
I
they're
don't
not
know, actually.
worth as much. But
I'm
I
not
mean,
sure.
personally, for me, I enjoy just playing these tournaments anyway. I've done store champs, I've gone to winner boxes, winner cases, I've done a 3v3. Locals, if there's anything in like the area that's going on and I'm free, I'm always down to go. So,
Yeah. I think
but
that I think one of the things they could do to mitigate that a little bit is to put, because there was a window of essentially 7 days to run a store championship.
yeah,
You had to
yeah,
pick one day in these 7, and I think it should have been a month, and you should have had a month to run them in.
yeah, yeah,
Now, whether or not that would mean that they were more spread out, so people would get 2 more, like you can only do 4 anyway, right? Like
yeah.
realistically,
Realistically, if
like
people are working and stuff,
yeah,
and for me, the only viable ones were the weekend ones.
yeah. Whether stores will start doing them midweek for their local players, I don't know. That might be a thing that might
Yeah,
happen.
maybe it depends. I guess if they give out more kits, they could probably do. They could, if they wanted to, they could advertise one as a
I
locals
guess, but
only.
I don't think they're going to give out more kits. I think they want to keep them relatively exclusive.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do. I really do, and I think it's a good idea. 8,800 stitches or 2,200. What's its kits seems right to me. It's about 2,500. It
yeah.
seems about right to me. And then you've
I
got
agree. I might be
10,000
biased because I
stitches.
have a stitch that I feel like
Maybe.
it's good. But I was also in the mindset, and I said this before store champs, that I hope this, at least the one with this stitch promo, that's it, and then they do another promo
Yeah, well, I
because I
think
didn't
they've
want it to
announced
just
that,
keep
right?
like, oh, here's yeah. So we know what the next one is. We won't say
It's
yet, but
Ursula, right? No, I'm spoiling
yes,
it. It's Ursula.
no, well, it's fine. Everyone knows about it
Yeah,
anyway.
everyone's
But
seen it. Yeah. No,
um, yeah. So
I
I was
mean,
hoping just for this. I didn't want it to become a really common
no,
card
no.
because it is in effect a little championship. So
Yeah, I agree. I think they should do one for each one. I wasn't expecting Ursula, to be honest. I thought they were going to do
I thought they were going to do set two,
set 2. Yeah, I thought they
but
would
it
set
makes
2.
sense. So I had a little chat with Mark, and obviously they're now going forward. So the next one will be a set 5 card. Next one will be a
Oh, so we're not getting
set
2 and
6.
3.
I don't think so. At least not for store champs. They might give like their another version of a promo, maybe out of Worlds or something.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, because we had the first 3 sets where they were trying to figure out the system and how they were going to work things, they had a store champs in mind, and then from now on it will be in line with the set.
That makes a lot of
Well,
sense, actually.
they brought the competitive scene forwards by a
They
set,
did, yeah.
though, didn't they?
Yeah.
So,
Because it was meant to kick in
Big,
now.
yeah,
so
big demand for
essentially,
it.
Yeah.
they'd already had. I mean, I know they gave out Rockstar Stitch promos prior for like certain events, but I think the artwork for this one's slightly
It's
different.
yeah. No, there's
Yeah, it's
there
like
was
it's classed as like an enchanted, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So they did a bunch of promos with the enchanted logo that aren't enchanteds for a few conventions and other bits they were at, and they give that. They're really expensive. They're really expensive.
The expo ones.
The expo
Yeah.
ones, yeah, and it's the same
Yeah.
artwork on the card. It's exactly the same card, but where the rarity symbol is, rather than it being the actual rarity of the card, it's the enchanted rarity, which is the little double hexagon-y thing or whatever that is.
Yeah, there's that, and I think some of them, depending on where they've been given out, they've got that. It's like a stamp there instead.
Yes, yeah. They've
Yeah,
got some
I
stamps
think
on
with
them
like
and
the
stuff.
Musketeer ones or something, but
Yeah.
there's more than because I always forget when they announce like these OP kits, and then there's always like two promos that are like not part of the kit, but they'll give out at special events.
Yes.
Like set 1, they had the Gaston. That's not just like a regular OP kit promo. It's
Yeah.
you have to go to. I have one, but that was only at a winner case. Apart from that, I don't think I've gone to an event where it's even been a prize. So
I don't know if they're convention cards now. Like if
yeah,
you go to a
that
convention
could be.
and learn to play, or rock up and be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, I already play. Please promo.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit through it again,
Yeah,
even though I like
don't
this
make
game.
me. I love the game, and I already know how to play. Please don't make me use
But
this
I
star
don't want to
deck.
look at a starter deck. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please don't make me look at this starter deck. But I
these
honestly
cards are
look.
so slow.
Here is my deck that is like really good. Can I play you with that so it's over quicker?
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
let me or embarrassingly lose to the starter deck with your top tier
Yeah,
meta deck.
yeah. What went wrong?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened.
Aladdin.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm itching to get some of the new cards on the table. Honestly, I'm itching now to discuss them, but we're not gonna. I'm gonna restrain myself, ready for next time
Yeah.
when we've actually played.
Once we've opened some and can
Yeah.
see them in person.
Yeah, it's,
But I mean, as like the first 3 sets go, I think they've done a great job.
I think so.
I was quite surprised how quickly we got new cards, like new mechanics. I don't know. I'm not a card game veteran, so I don't know how often when a new card game comes out, if they just. I still think that it's good what we've got, but obviously we got we had all the base stuff set 1, set 2. I think there was nothing
Floodborne.
new set 2.
No, you got the new type in set 2, which was Floodborne. They weren't in set 1, right?
Football. Yeah, I think they were because they were shifts,
Were
weren't they? Yeah.
Were they? Oh, I might be wrong then. I missed set
I'm trying
1
to think if there was anything new with 2. There was new ways to play certain cards in set 2, and then set 3, obviously we got locations.
Yeah.
But
We
yeah,
only got like 4 sing together cards in this, and then a different shift mechanic.
one for each color, a different shift mechanic,
Yeah.
which I think even though some of them are good, some of them are bad. We'll get into that in another episode. I really like that.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
I
no,
saw it,
it's
and even
great.
though I was like, okay, this is strange, but I was like, no, that's good. Like a different way to play.
No, well, Magic introduces a new mechanic in every set it releases. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or conversely, sometimes instead of doing that, they do what they did with Shift, which is to say, this is an old mechanic we have slightly tweaked.
It's a new way to do
It's
it.
a new
Yeah.
way to do the previous thing, but you can still do it that way as well because we brought the whole mechanic back. So one of the most common was the a thing called a kicker cost. So you paid a certain amount for the card, and if you paid this extra amount, you got the extra effect. And that has appeared a few times through Magic's history. But I was playing when it first came in, and then it sort of evolved in about 5 or 6 years later, where you could, like the kicker was played a different way by discarding a card or
Yeah, instead of playing more of a cost, you discard a card or probably get rid of
something,
something.
return a creature to your hand, or
Yeah.
something like that. So for me, the fact that we've had a very small update to the shift mechanic, which they're probably going to do again with a different type of way of doing it
Oh,
lately.
100%. Yeah.
And then you've got the sing together thing, which I think will definitely be expanded on in the next few sets. I think you'll see more
Yeah.
of that because they're very good.
Mm.
I think you'll see that, and then I think you'll start to see items get different ways of doing things with items. You're gonna have to bear with
Yeah,
us a
yeah, I
sec,
think
eh? I
so.
need to
Definitely.
put the wife's laptop on charge. Hang on.
Yes, we need to plug in.
Yes.
I thought I'd already plugged in.
I think I need to plug the wife in. There we go. That's my end. My end is in, dear.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad, my darling.
There we go. Right. Yeah. So. Yeah, I think we'll see. Like Mark mentioned the other, it's like a shift location, which I think would be cool.
Yeah, I'd heard that actually. Yeah, and I guess now you said that, you could probably think of a shift item as well.
Yeah, shift
You know,
items,
there's
like
yeah,
a small thing that you shift a bigger thing onto. That like especially with Tamatoa, right? Because you can just have
yeah.
like, I'm surprised we didn't get a shift Tamatoa yet.
Oh,
Just
like
like
an even bigger one.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just like
yeah,
the growing tiny little crab and all that sort of stuff. So.
yeah,
But I think
yeah.
that would be really cool. But they've got loads of different ways they can go down all sorts of things like reactive stuff that happens if you challenge a character is very underused. So like
Yeah, right now I
The
think
Mad
challenging
Hatter
is
and
one of
stuff like that.
the least. I think just the way the game is played or how people prefer to play, everyone's trying to dodge challenging.
Yeah, you don't want to
So
have any
certain cards you
challenging.
look at, or I have looked at in the past, you're like, oh, this should be really good, and then it's like it's okay, but it's a lot of challenging cards are considered slow because most of the time you have to take a turn, you have to wait a turn before they do anything.
Yeah.
They don't give any. Most things don't get rush and another effect that gives them a bonus.
No,
Not like
it's why Maui is
Scar,
so good, right? Maui and Scar
Maui,
are like
Scar,
yeah,
yeah,
but very little
um,
else does it. There's
yeah.
not a lot else.
I have I have favoritism towards the Shift Aladdin from set one, only because I used him for two
Yeah,
metas, I'd say. But he's just he's unfortunately he's just not that great. But the idea of something being able to take two lore off and add two lore to you,
yeah, that's a very
yeah,
unexplored. Well, I say unexplored. There's quite a lot of things that do reduce your opponent's lore, but none of them are quite good enough to
yeah.
do it just yet. Like,
There's nothing high enough in
yeah,
in the meta to be like, yeah, we need to throw this in.
yeah. There's
Um,
yet to be anything that will reduce enough of it often enough that it would matter.
yeah, and unfortunately, we had a whole meta of cards like Goat being some of the
Yeah,
best cards. Quick lore game.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
I think it's always going to be a relatively quick game. I don't think it's ever going to be drawn out. Sort of. What's the best analogy? If
Which
you
is
had the
good. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The control matchups like that's the longest it should be. But
yeah,
if you just go and do a tournament and you do a day of that, you think like 2 rounds in this is fine. You get to round 6 and round 7. Even if your day's going well, your brain is, or mine is, turned to mush. You're just like, oh my god,
yeah. Like anything
I
that
need to
isn't
chill.
another control mirror, please. Like
Yeah.
the
As much
deck.
as I hate playing against aggro, it's the quickest games you'll get.
Yeah, so I always used to play a lot of aggro decks in Magic for that very reason. I didn't want to play control mirrors.
Yeah.
Mid-range mirrors are fine. Mid-range versus aggro, aggro versus control, all that sort of stuff is fine. But if you're the one with a control deck, and control decks are popular, and a lot of people are playing them, even if you're the best with them, after 7 rounds of nothing but having to
It
win
doesn't matter. You're still
1-0,
going to have really long games.
yeah,
Good or bad plays.
yeah,
You
yeah.
may be the better player, but it doesn't matter. That game is still taking
I also think
the
they're the
majority
least
of the run.
forgiving of decks as well. If you tend to make a mistake with the heavy control decks, I think if you make the error, I think you're going to lose a lot of
Yeah.
the time. They don't forgive you very much. I think red blue is maybe the only one where that I've played really badly, and the deck has been like, "Don't worry, have a be prepared."
The power of top
The
decks will
power of
save you.
the power
Yeah.
of oh look a Tamatoa and draw a card
Yeah.
and quest
Just
for a
the card
bonus.
I needed.
Yeah,
Or
like
yeah, I can draw 4 off this one card
yeah.
basically. So
Here's a Flavisham. Don't worry the fact you accidentally
yeah.
clicked the wrong thing earlier on pitch support.
yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
be fine. You know that you
Yeah.
realised inking that was terrible. Don't worry, have another one. It's
Yeah.
okay. We'll
Yeah.
get
You're
you
gonna
there.
make your way through your deck that quick. It's
Yeah.
fine.
But
Yeah.
I think that like the blue steel deck that was set 3. That deck
Mm.
was set 2 into 3. That one
Set 2 and 3. It
yeah.
was definitely relevant.
That they are hard to play. I think
Yeah.
that's a hard deck to do 7 or 8 rounds in a day with. I wouldn't like to
Yeah.
do that. I don't think. Like
No.
singing a whole new world with Cogsworth and breaking. Oh, just stop. No, I don't
It's
want.
just your timing as well, and if
Yeah,
you get it wrong, you miss a turn, or you do your holy wall maybe a turn early, could be bad. A turn late is definitely even worse.
yeah,
But yeah, those matches, and even if you go run into the mirror with that, it's pretty miserable.
yeah. I don't. Yeah,
Or
so
probably the most miserable. I think steel matchups, steel mirror matches seem pretty bad because you both are. There's hardly any steel decks that don't run a whole new world right now, and that's your objective in most games. But then it's like I can't really do it in this one because my opponent's in the same. If I just refuel their hand, it's just
I might give them like a whole new world, and that would be bad.
yeah, and they're
Because
gonna whole new world, my whole new world, and then they have answers, and then
yeah.
so
No, that sounds horrible, and I don't like
yeah,
it. So,
yeah,
yeah, I did play a little bit on Pixelborn Blue Steel, and then I went back to my Blue Red list that I enjoyed quite
yeah.
a lot. But I'm more of a mid-rangey player myself. I prefer the
hmm
mid-range decks, so I'll stick with Green Steel sort of tempo-y type stuff.
Yeah,
But
I've played with well, on Pixelborn anyway, a lot of different style of decks. But for me, at least on paper, set one, I was green steel. Set two was for the most part blue red, and then set three, I'd say I jumped to the dark side, but I didn't because it wasn't as strong. I tried red purple, because blue red wasn't all there, funnily enough, at that point. And famously from Mark, he went, "You're a good player. You just need to play with a good deck." So I went, "Okay, I'll play red purple." And what do you know? Red blue becomes the best, if not in the top two decks of the. So I switched back. Um, or juggling between red purple because I enjoyed red blue anyway, and just because it got a bit more firepower. I also kept losing to Lucky Dime as a red purple player, and it was really annoying that I had no way to get rid of it.
yeah,
So I was like, I guess I'll just shuffle back to my red blue and play it. But I do like control decks. I hate playing against and I hate playing aggro. For me anyway, I actually enjoy the thinking part of the game. I know we said about like having those long days where your brain just goes to mush because you're just thinking so much about your plays, but my preferred style of play, I enjoy control way more. I like having options in my head and then trying to figure out which is the best one and then getting the best one. And yeah, it's more rewarding to me than um,
overrated.
yeah, being just
I
think,
think you just
play,
want to
go.
lob things onto the battlefield, turn them
Yeah.
sideways, and then top deck goat and make your opponent cry.
Oh
That's
yeah. I mean, it's
like
happened to me, and to be fair, I've said it. It's part of the game. It can happen.
I did it to somebody on the stream the other day because
Yeah.
I was playing on stream, and he'd stabilized the entire board, and I had
Yeah,
no
that's an upsetting thing
yeah,
about control. Like at least playing, if you do all that, and you're like, I can only lose if they top deck goat,
yep,
for example.
yeah,
And what do you know? It's goat.
yeah.
And
So
you're like,
I ripped
if I just knew this was going to happen, I would have not had 10 minutes to waste
yeah,
putting out all these cards.
I basically stripped his entire hand to pieces and was like, okay, this is all going really well,
Hmm.
with different bits and pieces, different purple, green deck I was playing, and he wiped my whole board. I had no cards in hand. He had things on the field, and I had literally one draw or I lost. And I drew goat and played it and just laughed and
Yeah.
yeah. But I am that
Yeah.
guy. So, but it's happened to me a bunch, so I don't feel as bad
Yeah,
because
I've done it. I've done
people
it
have
to
done it
loads
to
of
me
people. I've
loads.
had it done to me. It
Yeah,
hurts way more in paper, but Pixelborn is just like, okay,
yeah, yeah.
it's fine.
I think one of the first time it happened to me, I nearly flipped the table, but after that, I kind of realized that
Yeah, you just get
it's
used
just a
to it. I
thing,
think
right?
for me as well, the amount of times I've top decked a Be Prepared.
Yes.
Because at least for set two and three, no matter what, I've always played red. So I am the Be Prepared person, and yeah, you top deck it more than you think you would. I don't recall getting this sort of heart of the cards level stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh when I used to play. Like it was never like, oh, I need this card. I'm gonna get it. But like Pixelborn, I can easily say so many times. I think all I need is this to at least have a chance, and then boom, you get
Yeah,
yeah,
Pixelborn is really bad for that. I mean, like I've had it,
yeah,
I've had it
strangely
where
bad.
me and my opponent are both empty boarded and top decking, and they'll like draw the beast, tragic hero, play it, and I rip the Along Came Zeus and kill his thing and pass back, and he
Yeah.
draws another beast and plays it, and I'm like, oh, another Along Came Zeus and play it, and it's whoever gets their thing where Pixelborn gives up on you first. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
which one of you is going to draw the strength of a raging fire or something, which with no creatures on board. And you're like, oh,
yeah.
it's chosen me to lose today. What am I going to do now?
Yay.
Like,
Yeah.
oh. Or your opponent sat there with 4 cards not doing anything. You're like, what are you doing? And you realise they're all uninkable, like 6s, and they're on 5. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, I see. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's how I won that game. I get it. But yeah, but stuff like that. But yeah, so I think with that, I think we're going to call it a day for our first episode.
Feels
And
good.
I think we've gone quite longer than I expected, honestly.
I think so too.
That mainly because I like the sound of my own voice.
Yes.
I think that's a lot of what it is.
I also think that obviously we'll do this in later episodes, but Lorcana, there is so much to talk about as well as just the game. I'm sure we'll do an episode where we talk about our favorite sort of Disney sort of characters and films and what we want to see, what we like seeing, and ideas and stuff. So there's so much we could talk about.
Oh,
so.
it's pretty endless.
Absolutely.
Like the Lorcana, I think will just get better and better. But the next episode, which will be our first proper full in-depth episode, will be on Set 4, Ursula's Return, which, by the way, is available to order from LazyDragonGaming.com, where you can pre-order all your stuff for Lorcana and Pokemon. You can find us on Twitch at LD Gaming Live, where we stream Lorcana for myself and on Pixelborn, and knitting for my good lady wife. She knits things live for you to watch and relax after a hard day's work. You don't have any. This is the first time I've had a person on who doesn't have any social media to plug or talk about, Harry.
Yeah, realistically, I don't have anything. I guess the only one I really talk about Lorcana on is my Twitter, but it's not. I usually use it just to view other people's opinions. Apart from that, I just use Discords, or we have our own kind of group chat. So
So, but the other person we podcast with is Pete, and Pete has his own like YouTube and Twitch and stuff. So we always obviously plug his stuff.
That is a shame. Yes, if we did this podcast 2-3 years ago, I was very much into streaming at that point, so that would have been helpful. But
so we can't plug
just
Harry,
to.
So
No, but just to add on to the set 4 ordering, I also would like to point out that with set 3 ordering with Lazy Dragon, maybe it was just luck or I am one of the favourites, but I did ask for an enchanted in my box and it happened.
Yes.
And it was a Jafar as well, so one of the better enchanted.
Yeah, but do you know what? We are so nice here at Lazy Dragon Gaming that you weren't the only one, H.
That is very true. There were a lot of enchanted Jafars.
Abby got one as well, and so did Callum, I think.
Yep, and Chris.
And Chris got one as well. So that's that was a lot of enchanteds in the thing.
Yeah, we shared out the love. We shared the love,
which is what we try and do.
Yeah.
And so that'll be good. But that set, so we don't know yet whether our luck has carried over into this set because it doesn't come out until as of recording tomorrow, which is the Friday the 17th of May. So if you're listening to this on a one of the podcast platforms, please leave a review. We would appreciate it. If you're listening on YouTube, we would appreciate a subscribe and a like and a comment. If you have any questions, like we normally do for the 40k ones, for the Warhammer ones, if you have any questions for any of us about gameplay, getting into the game, all that sort of thing, what our favourite characters are, we'll probably cover anyway. But if you want to ask us, we will tell you. So with that, I'm not going to do my usual thing because H doesn't know what it is yet. So I will say I will say goodbye. Harry, are you anything to add before you say goodbye?
Not really. I'm just like you guys, really looking forward to carrying on with these episodes. It'll be a weekly thing.
Yes.
And there's so much to talk about. And I kind of agree with Tom. I also maybe a little bit like the sound of my own voice, so I'm happy to talk for a while. And this has gone on way longer than I thought it would. Which just goes to show there's just so much to talk about. And I could talk more, but we'll save it for next week.
Yeah, I think we'll have to try and keep control of ourselves, otherwise it will.
It's okay because I quite enjoy listening.
Yes, you're a very good listener.
Yes, thank you very much.